Gold fever lingered long after the 1849 gold rush in California, and just when several prospectors were wondering if there was anything left to find, some lucky prospectors stumbled upon a discovery that led to the founding of two towns. We'll show you where they are next on Ghost Towns and More. Deep in the middle of Southern California, about 140 miles northeast of Los Angeles, are the remains of two living ghost towns nestled side by side. Mining frenzies were taking place all over the western United States during the latter half of the 1800s, and prospectors were everywhere, combing the hills and mountains, looking for that lucky break of fortune that favored most of those who had eureka moments by accident. In 1895, a trio of prospectors located evidence of gold on Rand Mountain, and they hurriedly and quietly staked their claim. News of any promising gold discoveries always spread quickly, despite efforts to keep it secret. It wasn't long after the new claim holders started setting up operations that a tent city sprouted up that later evolved into a town called Randsburg. And the Rand Mining District was formally organized by December of that year. Just over the ridge to the east, another tent town had started and was getting well underway in 1896 when founders decided to plot out a well-organized community that in many ways became a sister town to Randsburg. Miners there decided to name their new town after the gold-producing city where they had worked in South Africa, giving it the namesake Johannesburg. While Randsburg boasted the main yellow aster mine for its primary source of wealth, Johannesburg that same year struck its own bonanza, its King Solomon mine. Like siblings, the two towns were in some ways rivals to each other, and they both had qualities that were mutually beneficial. Johannesburg was planned to be a civilized family community with grid-patterned streets, and they boasted piped-in water to buildings and residences. It had a post office, general stores, variety stores, a music hall, boarding houses, and livery stables. Johannesburg soon became the terminus for the railroad, becoming indispensable to neighboring Randsburg and making it a booming transportation hub for the region. In 1900, the town laid out and built a golf course, and a club was started. Johannesburg was fancied as a modern, up-to-date community, but neighboring Randsburg was not to be outdone. Not long after the railroad was built into Johannesburg, Randsburg miners constructed their own stamp mill, which reduced the need for them to ship out their ores by rail in Johannesburg. The rail line was sold in 1903, and the tracks were later abandoned and pulled up 30 years after that. Large-scale mining continued up through 1918, and in 1919 silver was discovered, which added to the prosperity of both towns through the 1930s. World War II brought an end to most gold and silver mining throughout the country, and the mining industry suffered. The days of steady mining production of precious ores were greatly diminished, but intermittent mining and development did continue. The mining district's estimated production of gold output was over $20 million. With most of the population moving on and out, the town of Johannesburg dwindled. Today, the town is a ghost of its former self, where many of the old original buildings are boarded up. About 170 residents still call Johannesburg home, and it is a quiet place where history has left its mark. Today, many residents prefer to use the shortened version of their town name as Joburg. The massive head frame from the King Solomon mine still stands on the edge of town, and evidence of mining equipment and buildings are scattered around the hillsides. The old train station with the adjacent caboose are carefully preserved. There are several old relics to see as you spend time exploring and driving through town. The cemetery, which serves both Randburg and Johannesburg, is especially interesting to see. Johannesburg, as well as Randburg, are excellent living ghost towns you'll enjoy, with plenty to see in both of them when you visit this part of the country.